Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big non-conference matchup coming up here in Week 3 of this 2021 college football season. And it's going to be between the Michigan State Spartans and the Miami Hurricanes, two teams of which who are kind of on the edge of the top 25 right now. In this case, you got Miami, of course, who's ranked 24th right now. And Michigan State is certainly one of the top ones out right now of this top 25. So you got two pretty talented football teams going head-to-head here in Week 3, and it should make for a very interesting matchup moving forward. So that being said, we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Last week for Michigan State, they beat Youngstown State 42-14. Overall, Michigan State has actually very much surprised me so far this college football season. I mean, we saw them completely dominate Northwestern in Week 1. That game was hardly even close for a good majority of it. And then last week, Michigan State puts up 42 on Youngstown State, which, of course, they're an FCS opponent, so they should have beaten them pretty comfortably. But overall, it's been a very impressive start so far for Michigan State. And, it's very much surprised me. If you look at the talent on that Michigan State football team, this is a pretty young team. And Peyton Thorne, their quarterback especially, has surprised me just because of, we've hardly seen him so far. And so, coming into 2021, the expectations were pretty low for him, but overall, he's played pretty well so far. So Michigan State is 2-0. Miami, on the flip side, had a close one against Appalachian State this past weekend. Still beat them 25-23, but it was a bit closer than expected. Miami also lost to Alabama in Week 1. So, that game was not even close. So, kind of a rough start for Miami. They're 1-1, but there are definitely a few question marks around Miami right now. So, you kind of got a team that's kind of on standby right now with Miami. We're still waiting on a big performance out of them. Meanwhile, on the Michigan State side, Michigan State is looking like a potential surprise team this 2021 college football season. So, this game will be on Saturday, September 18th. Miami Gardens, Florida Hurricanes are the home team in this matchup, and it'll be at noon Eastern time. Spread currently has Miami by 6.5, over-under is 55.5, and the ESPN FPI is also going with the Hurricanes here, 65.7%. So, Miami's actually favored pretty easily in this matchup right now, 6.5 on the spread and a 65% on the FPI. As far as the series history goes, Miami leads at 4-0. Win streak is also Hurricanes by 4, and the last game was in 1989 between these two teams. So it's been quite a while, basically 30 years since we've seen these two teams play each other. So that makes it even more interesting. We haven't seen these teams play each other in a long while. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Michigan State's got 40 points per game, 17 points allowed in their past 2 weeks. They also got 254 pass yards a game, 299 rush yards a game. This is a very powerful rushing offense that Michigan State has got right now. Walker especially, he's done very well so far. Against Northwestern, he was nothing short of outstanding. So definitely be on the lookout for him moving forward. For yards allowed, you got 210 passing, then 142 rushing. As for Miami, you got 19 points per game, 33 points allowed. You got 189 pass yards on average, 131 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, you got 276 passing and then 137 rushing. So overall, if you look at Derek King, it's been a tough start for him. Derek King heading into this college football season, I projected to be a top 10 quarterback in the nation, potentially a top 5, and so far he's definitely been a disappointment. His stats last season were outstanding. He played very well. And obviously he lost a couple of weapons this offseason, but Derek King I do think shows a lot of potential, and I think he's got definite upside to be a top 10 quarterback once we get to the end of the season, but it's just been a tough start for him. For Michigan State, they got a great start going right now. Once again, 2-0 is their record. They will, for sure, easily jump into the top 25 with a win here. I've got them in my rankings at 25 right now. I think Miami is 24 in mine, so this is basically a 24 versus 25 matchup for me. But, yeah, Michigan State is, they're looking pretty good. They've kind of surprised me so far. I figured Michigan State would potentially be a one of the bottom teams in the Big 10 this season just because of their quarterback situation. But overall, it's looked very good so far out of Michigan State. Peyton Thorne and Walker, their running back, very dangerous moving forward. For Miami, they could get a very high-quality win in this matchup. This would be huge for them to get some momentum back. After losing to Alabama in Game 1, you really lost your momentum there. And then, I mean, you have to go and play Appalachian State, which should be an easy win. Ends up being a closer matchup. So this will be a huge game for Miami here. D'Eriq King not having the best start, but there's a lot of potential on this Miami football team. I mean, Miami's got more talent here. I'll be honest with you. The Hurricanes, I mean, they've recruited better and they've got more talent overall. But Michigan State, this is a Michigan State team that is playing with a lot more motivation, it seems like right now. So for the prediction for this matchup, it's going to be very close, but I'm going to go with Michigan State to get the upset here. I've got the Spartans pulling the upset 31-28. Main reason being Michigan State has got a lot more momentum right now. I mean, they already have a pretty quality conference win in the books with Northwestern. They blew them out. And, I mean, they also blew out Youngstown State this past week, which obviously is an FCS opponent, but still is a pretty impressive game out of Michigan State. And overall, I mean, Michigan State has very much exceeded my expectations for them so far. And I think Michigan State should or could easily be a top 20 team after this weekend with a win here. Miami, they're going to keep it close, and I think it's going to be a 31-28 final score, so Miami keeps it within 3 in the end. But I just think Michigan State comes out, plays a better game, and they're going to get the win by a score of 31-28. Probably Michigan State 55%, over-under is 56.5, so I am taking the over just barely in this matchup. But that being said, let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup, and I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.